Okay, so we weren't quite finished with part B, or sorry, example 9.7. So part C, actually, we did finish part B. Part C says it doesn't give the formula, it gives the whole word of the compound. So potassium bromide. I'm just going to write it out here. And really what you do for this one is you just figure out what the ion is. So potassium is +1, bromine is -1, and then you do this crossover thing. So it's just KBr, like that. Part D says copper 1 sulfide, so copper 1 sulfide. Copper is Cu. This Roman numeral 1 here means +1. The sulfur is 2 negative, so if you do this crossover thing, you get Cu2S. So that is how you would figure as far as with the Roman numerals and stuff. I think, yeah, there's another example in this section. So example 9.8, you have Na2SO4. Okay, so this is where you will have to also use that polyatomic ion table. So first, if you look, you've got this right here, and you've got this section of it. So one way to know that you'll have to use that polyatomic ion table is to count how many elements there are. Well, in order for there to be an element, there has to be a capital letter. So this is 1, 2, 3. So if there is 3 or more elements, then that means you're definitely talking about a polyatomic ion. So you're going to have to look at table 9.3. So if I have to go back here to that table, which is in chemical bonds. And for some reason it's not letting me. Why is it not letting me? Probably because it's been a while since I've been on here. Yep. Sorry about that. Okay. I get to the book again. Okay. So if we go back to this chemical bond section and you go down to table 9.3, you can see that there is an SO4 way down at the bottom. That's sulfate. So this is just sodium sulfate. So when it has a polyatomic ion, you literally just name whatever the metal is, and then you just name whatever the polyatomic ion is. All right, so we got to go back again to our example. And that was part A. So part B is it's also involving a polyatomic ion. So at this point, I'm going to ask you guys to actually pull up that table if you can, because so then I don't have to go back and forth, or I could I could write them down and then we could do them. Let's see, this is calcium carbonate, and then part D is calcium phosphate. Okay, I'll go back to that table really quick to scroll. Okay, so the first two have the formulas, and then the second two have the worded compounds. All right, so copper, if you look up here on table 9.2, see how copper has a +1 and a +2? We have to figure out which one it is. Well, if you go down here to OH, so look through here and see OH. See how that's hydroxide? And again, you've got how many capital letters? You've got 3, so that means that you're dealing with a polyatomic ion. So see how hydroxide is OH -1. Now see how there's this 2 down here? If you pull that back up, then that shows you that that would be Cu2+, which means that you're dealing with copper 2, which you have to write in Roman numerals, hydroxide. Okay, now for the worded ones. So on this one for calcium, you just have to look at the periodic table and you see that it's in the second group, so it's 2+, and then you have to look over here on table 9.3 for carbonate, and carbonate is CO3 2-. Well, if you do those crossover things, if they're the same number or if they can be reduced by anything, so like for instance, if I wrote Ca2CO3 2, see how these are both divisible by 2? You will simplify it. So you don't end up with Ca2CO3 2. You just end up with CaCO3. And then for the next one, you have calcium again, which is Ca2+. And then if you look at phosphate, phosphate is PO4 3-. So this is a good example because this is showing you a polyatomic ion that actually you're going to have to drag a number below. So you have Ca, you drag that 3 from the phosphate over, and then you have to put this in parentheses, because if you didn't, it would be like PO4 2, which would be like PO42, which would not be possible at all. And this 2 goes to the phosphorus and it goes to the oxygen. So you have to make sure that you put the phosphate in parentheses like that. Okay, let's see, let's go back to our section here. Did I go way past it or something? Nope, that's it. Okay, so that is all of that